Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Again, it's episode 8, and we're here with a good friend of mine and someone I always thought was awesome watching growing up, and didn't become friends for a while there, and then we became pretty tight, and I've been a big fan of him ever since. He's Supercross champ and just all around badass, and I know Jeff always has some good shit to say. What do you got?
Yeah, stoked to have our first current racer on the show, episode number 8, and I'm just a huge fan. Kyle and Jason have more of a personal relationship. I'm just a huge fan of the dude, just as a motocross fan, Supercross fan. 2018 450 Supercross champion, 2014 250 West Coast Supercross champion, multiple other accolades. But yeah, let's get into it. I'm super stoked. Episode 8, Jason Anderson.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's cool. Obviously, like me and Kyle, we became pretty good friends there for a little bit, even staying at my house and stuff like that back in my Florida days a little bit. And yeah, he's always been part of the crew, and nice hanging out with the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for doing it.
Yeah, we're stoked to have you, dude.
Yeah.
I know we've been talking about getting you on here for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Busy schedules and whatnot, but
our schedule's crazy now. We do 31 weekends a year, so it's
gnarly.
Yeah.
What did you get last weekend?
I got third last weekend.
Overall?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Led quite a bit of that second moto. That was awesome.
Yeah. The second moto was good, but Chase, man, he just hounds you, So like pace wise, I feel like I'm pretty good, but he's just strong the whole moto.
Yeah, you were fastest qualifier. I think the weekend before you were too. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bud.
Mm-hmm.
So you got that pace. For
yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Trying to figure it out. Obviously, we got like a new bike and stuff. So, but that's just kind of everyone's working on trying to be better and better. And as soon as you're at the top, everyone's trying to be better than you. So
yeah, Chase doesn't have a Siggy at home either.
No, not yet. But she's cheering me on, so she keeps me going.
Yeah. Nice. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we'd dive right into what I thought was one of the craziest things I've ever seen at a race.
Mm-hmm.
It was honestly, out of all the races I've been to in my life, I just marked that one off as the best race I've ever been to.
Mm-hmm.
Because the vibe was insane. We were in Italy.
Yep.
You actually let me stay in your room the night before the first day.
Yeah.
And then the second day, I told you guys to leave, and I ended up staying with some German kids in their box van, which was awesome. But yeah, so we're watching the race, and
not to cut you off, but what race are we talking?
Oh, the race is Motocross of Nations 2016.
Majora Park?
Yeah, Majora, yeah.
Majora, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Majora Park, yeah. And the facility is amazing. Scott Sepkovic is friends with the owner of the track, Stefano.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got there, Scott and I are good buddies, and I ended up hanging with him. There's like a 5-star restaurant up in the top of the track. There was a champagne sponsor as like that thing. So Scott and I were just up there sipping champagne, and I think that was when it hit me. I'm like, this might be the coolest race I've ever been to.
Mm-hmm.
And then to see you go out and do what you did, dude, that race. I think, was it Hurling's first 450 race or one of his first ones?
Yeah, because he had raced Cooper at Charlotte. Remember when Cooper ran him down? So he was still 250, and then he had done, that was his like first 450 was like the Nations.
Yeah. So you guys were going at it, and that track was so cool. Like you had to be picky on lines, the big downhills and up. Like it was just such a cool track, and your style was so good. And you guys were battling, and you were able to get the best of him. I think he made some mistake. You kind of dropped him. But anyways, you won by a good margin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I had a few drinks that day. At Motocross of Nations style with it just going off, right?
I mean, that's kind of how it is at Motocross of Nations, It's the fans and everything like that. Unless you're racing, you kind of better be partying.
Oh, yeah. No, it was good.
Yeah.
Dude. And the Alpine Stars hospitality and just the whole first class experience. Mm-hmm. And, dude, I'm so hyped for you. You're coming around, just literally like, screaming my lungs off. Yeah, I freaking got the win.
Mm-hmm.
And then you roll the finish line and you get landed straight on your head, dude. It went from the coolest, raddest thing that ever I saw like this race, and then I was like, did he just die or get paralyzed or what just happened? Because it was so gnarly the way I was like right
Your
there.
body like full down
I
the
know.
saddle landing.
Yeah.
Whole
You just
vibe.
went limp and just off the track. And so walk us through that experience a little bit, because I've never talked to you about it, because you were gone after that at the hospital. So
Yeah. So what just start with like that summer. Like I think I did Supercross that year, and that was my second year, and I think I got like third in points. So that was cool. And then I went into the summer. I did the first 2 rounds, got done with high point, and I crashed, and I broke my collarbone and did my AC joint. So I was out all summer, but out of nowhere, one day I was getting back into the groove of it. Just thought I wasn't going to race anymore that summer. And Roger hit me up to do donations. And I was like, that was my first time ever getting a call to like do it. So I was like, man, I need to like buckle down and like start kind of training, because I was kind of on the off season kind of training program. And so luckily enough, I was able to, he picked me. I was able to get ready racing the last outdoor at Ironman. And then I was just fired up because like I had so much time off. I was ready to go,
Yeah.
And those guys were kind of coming off a long season. So I was like, I just wanted to like go do good, try and win. I still want to do it because I've never been on a winning team for donations, but that's what I wanted to do. And yeah, that weekend it was crazy because I did the qualifying race and they pick like an amateur race. So if you get like 30-second like pin, or we picked 30-second pin, so we were like outside, So it was like started us already behind. First corner pile up, and I broke my foot.
I remember that.
Yeah.
The foot thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was questionable whether or not,
Yeah, basically whether or not I could race was like the thing, but I was like, it didn't hurt because I still finished the qualifying race, but my foot was broken. But luckily enough, I was able to, you have doctors there and everything like that, and basically I tried to get my foot as good as I could, and I come off the track and I'm like, my foot's broken, and they're like, what? Like, you finished. Yeah. But it didn't hurt that bad. Like, you think of a broken bone, but it honestly didn't hurt that bad. But I knew that like a night of sleep and swelling and stuff like that, it wasn't going to feel that good the next day. So I was kind of stressed, but luckily, like all the doctors there and everything, I basically shot my foot up with like, I don't know if it was like a cortisone or something, just so I didn't feel it, and it was taped. And I just kind of sent it. And my biggest thing when I finished the race was I was trying to avoid doing a TV interview because I knew that I wanted to go straight back and get my foot ready because I had another moto in 30 minutes. And then I woke up and I was like, well, I don't know what happened, but that didn't go to plan.
You did your part.
Yeah. Perfectly. And I remember rolling the jump. I kind of remember everything, but I just remembered I was like going over the finish line and I was stoked I won, but I was more panicked to get back, and I was trying to I rolled the finish. I was already kind of like with my foot broken.
This is going to be Team USA's second race victory since 2011 when they were last victorious. The first, of course, Justin Marshall in Ernay last year, but Anderson picks himself up off the deck from the qualifying race yesterday, and
woke up and they have curtains over me, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, is it that bad? Just with the curtains over me. And I was like out of it, and I had my earplugs in still, and they were trying to talk to me, and I just had a meltdown. I was like, asked my mechanic, I'm like, dude, I can't hear anything. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going deaf, like something's wrong with me. My earplugs were just in. But other than that, like, I was relatively healthy, like obviously I had a broken foot and I was knocked out, so they weren't going to let me race.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel that bad. As crazy as the crash looked and everything, it was more just
kind of hit your head and knocked you out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was more upset that we couldn't finish the job.
Couldn't race that next moto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who did you beat in that race? Like names.
Me and Hurlings were battling up front. Yeah.
That's insane.
And to be honest, I think Hurlings was like a little faster than me, but I was like fast. I was pretty fast going into that race, but I was able to hold him off, and then he made a mistake, and I was able to win. But to be honest, I just getting the whole shot and managing the race is what got me the win.
You managing that race was amazing because, like he might have been a hair faster than you.
Yeah.
But you didn't, just like you still do.
Yeah.
Just like who you are. Like, you're not just going to let someone pass you and then right away. So you're just really holding your own and really like taking good lines. And then he made a little mistake and you get the win. So that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, and just for my first Nations, it's definitely like that you'll never forget that memory.
It was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I forgot a little bit of it. But, you'll never. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But dude, stoked you actually wasn't worse than that.
Yeah.
That was cool. What happened? The guy that did land, I think it was Team Japan, guy on a Honda. So Japanese guy on a Honda.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know his full name, but I know he came and raced over here after that. But for a year after that, I was like bitter, but then at the same time I was like, he didn't mean to do it. Because honestly, he landed on me. He could have eaten shit just as bad. So he got lucky that he wasn't hurt either. But yeah, I mean, I held a grudge for a little bit, but I let it go relatively quick. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, well, that was a crazy experience, dude. It was cool to be there, and then so that was 2016, and then you started like really like clicking off like good races, and then in 2018, you were the first Husky rider to win a Premier Class championship, and wow, that was an amazing season. The Oakland race was insane with you and Roxon, dude. That was one of the best races of all time.
On the complete edge of disaster as Anderson lets it all hang out. Whoa! He's on the pegs! Roxon moves up a little bit. Oh, he makes a bobble. Here comes Anderson. Anderson starts to pull away. What can the young German rider do? How much does he have left in the tank? Anderson coming to the checker flag. He did it! Wow. What an effort. What a battle.
Like watching it, I wasn't there, but watching it on TV, wow, that was good. Again, you're just holding your own, just battling, and you got the win. And then a lot of good races that year. Like there were some other ones, and then you kind of almost ended up in a situation there at Salt Lake, right? You had some stuff happen there.
Yeah, my spokes. Yeah, that season was
wheel blown out.
Yeah, that season was great for me. I mean, it was kind of crazy because at the beginning I was on a roll, and then you get a big points lead, and then that stress of just managing that, because it's like, I think at one point I had like almost 50 points, 40 something, but just managing that, and it's just one of the most stressful situations you could be in, because it's like, realistically, it wasn't tough for me that year it was easy to be inside the top 4, but I just had to do that all year for at least 8 more races. So just mentally, it was just tough just being in that position. And but I was proud of myself to be able to do it, and I was still on the podium, even won a couple more races later in the season. But and then I got to the end, and I went into the first corner, and I didn't crash, but I was someone's foot peg just grabbed all my spokes. So then I'm stressed going into like the last round because I lost 25 points, and I still had a good points lead. I think I was like 15 or 16, just because I had a good one going into there. But just had to make it more stressful. It'd be nice to wrap it up early. But yeah, being able to win that championship was unreal, and especially for team I was on. Like, not only was it Husky, but it was a team that
you started with.
I started with, yeah.
Bobby Hewitt.
And it was cool to like even no matter whatever happened past that in my career, like he really, from like nothing to like the 450 Supercross championship is huge.
Oh, it was huge.
If you would have told him that by 2018 we'd win the 450 Supercross championship, you'd be like, dude, what are you smoking?
And Husky wasn't even like when you first were on that team, it was Rockstar Suzuki, and then it went KTM, and like Husky wasn't even around, and then it came around, and then we were,
It was kind of crazy just because like even before that, it's like you just going through like going from the 250 to 450 class. You have to sign with a 450 team, and that next level is super intimidating because you know, it's tough, but I always knew that Bobby would let me go at my own pace because I had offers from other teams 450 wise, but I just was like, first I didn't want him to ride a Husky because I was like, a Husky, dude. Like, I'm like,
Yeah,
not to be mean, but like in 2014, if you told me I was racing a Husky in 2015 450 Supercross, I'd be like, what? My career's not going that great. Yeah. But, and then when I understood what the plan was with it, with everything behind it, I was like, sweet, let's do it.
Yeah, I probably make this work.
Yeah.
And then, so you mentioned like being with that team for so long. I know like you were so good as an amateur, and then you went pro, and I've seen this with other guys too. But like you went pro, and I would hang out and watch the races a lot with Randy Lawrence. He was like my buddy that I watched the races with. We could always share info with each other, and he was Villapoto's trainer for a long time when I was at Monster. So him and I would hang out, and I would watch the races a lot with him. And I would watch him a lot when he was training you.
Yeah.
And I remember standing at Millville, and you were probably in like 14th or 9th or 12th or whatever place it was like that, but not towards the front.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how you're kind of just that, you were in that place, and whether or not you're going to figure it out. And boy, you sure figured it out, because a couple of years later, you're winning races, winning championship. And so can you tell us a little bit about that? Like when you go and transition to that pro class like that, and you're kind of in that little struggle, what was the click or the thing? Like you just stayed really dedicated and it started all happening for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think the when you go from amateur to pro, like nowadays it seems like there's obviously so much media and everything that you kind of like, say in 2010, you didn't have Instagram, you didn't have anything like that, you know, and I lived in New Mexico. Obviously me and my family, we'd come to California and I'd ride here for 2 weeks, but like the whole training aspect was like, I would train, but I didn't really understand it or anything like that. And then like when I was an amateur, like my last year pro, I just rode a lot and did motos and didn't really have much guidance. I did, but I didn't at the same time, you know. And I was able to win, you know. And then when I went professional, there's certain aspects that I thought I could overcome. Like I feel like an amateur, like I didn't feel like I needed the best bike or anything. I feel like I was able just to will my way into winning no matter what. But when you go into the pro class, like motorcycle means a lot, you know. And I think the team I had signed with, nothing against them, they were down to understand it and everything, but I don't think our motorcycle was Mitch's. You know, it wasn't like a PC 250.
Yeah.
So I think I was already behind right there. You know, I think that there were a couple bikes that were for sure better than mine. Not that my team wasn't trying their hardest to work hard or anything like that. That's how it goes from.
It's just how it was.
Yeah. And then me in general, like I didn't understand that like it's like a full like 24/7 job, you know, like even right now, like I'm kind of doing stuff 7 days a week, whether it be Sunday, I'm just doing like a little spin on Sunday, or on the off season, like you're still doing 2 to 3 hour bike rides on Saturday. And now for me, like it's like part of my life. So it's not that big of a deal, but to go from like being a kid that rides for fun to doing that, I didn't think I had to do it at first, you know, and it took me about through Supercross season to hire RL, you know, and then I had to hire Randy Lawrence. And then from there on, I started round 1 of outdoors and I had just started training. So I had to like literally figure all that out to like do good enough to get a job for the next year and just keep implementing training into it to see if I can make my career keep going.
Yeah. What year was this?
2011.
So that was your first year pro, 11?
Yeah.
So you went 11, 12, 13, fourth year championship.
Yeah.
So that's like, that's what you're looking for right there. So that's the path.
And you must have helped them. I know it went from Suzuki to KTM, same team.
Yeah.
But you must have had a lot of input and help with just getting that team to get their bikes good. And
I think that they put a lot of money behind me just on the Suzuki 250, and we made the bike good enough. And I think we made it good enough in Supercross, because in Supercross in 12, I got a couple of podiums, but in 13, I got I got a bunch of podiums. Got my first win on the Suzuki. And got a podium outdoors, which is a big deal, you know, because it's I feel like horsepower was kind of hard to find on those motorcycles, and to be able to podium an outdoor was big. And then, but we also had Davey on our team, and Davey had that, insane 2013 year.
He had a great
like
year
out
in
of
Supercross.
nowhere. So that was really good for our team to get that next step to get the factory support. So like we had factory support kind of, but moving to KTM, the bike was obviously a new level, especially on a 250. You know, and that was really where I was like, all right, let's see. I was gonna get a factory bike, and Marvin was hurt. Kenny was moving up to 450, so it was a perfect chance for me. Even though we weren't Red Bull KTM, I knew that I would be the only KTM guy, and they would give me all this stuff. So they were just working with me on the 250. Awesome, if Marvin would have been racing me, I would have been a little more nervous, just because like Rockstar KTM, they don't want Rockstar KTM to beat Red Bull KTM. But at that time, I was like, it was worked out kind of perfect.
It's crazy how all these things that you're talking about like come into play with the program, like whether who's where there, and like it does have a lot to do with it. And anyways, that was awesome to see you come, and the way that you were racing that year that you won the 250 Supercross championship, it was so fun to watch, dude.
Yeah,
you were a little wild, but you were getting it done, dude.
Yeah, I mean, a big thing, I think, just whenever I wasn't doing good or anything like that, like my rookie year, I just kind of wanted to know what the feeling would be like to like win races and stuff like that. Like, I just feel like I had the talent, but I never was giving myself a chance to do it without the training and stuff like that. So my biggest thing was just to kind of figure out personally if I enjoyed like kind of like maybe the attention, the winning, everything like that. And I'm like, I know I can do it. But I just needed to figure out, I just needed to put my head down, and I was just kind of relentless in my way of making sure that I got to feel that feeling in my career.
Didn't you say you won 3 main events in 14 and you led 3 laps?
Yeah.
So you were picking off Sealy every last lap there for a while?
Yeah, it was even that year, like I go into the Supercross season and I wasn't really on anyone's radar to even win.
Yeah.
In 2014, because you had Dean, you had Sealy, and at
Little
Hill,
Justin.
Osborne, and like, to be honest, those guys were kind of like, if you off 13, they were kind of like a level, like maybe like going in like hype and stuff like that, and I was able to I just kind of got the job done, and it was kind of sweet.
I read Kyle the top 9 earlier when we were talking, and it was like 9. Like Jesse Nelson, there's like
Cooper
Webb. There's 9 legit dudes, and Malcolm Stewart, I think.
Malcolm,
E.T. Bundy one's really good.
Yeah,
straight into you.
Yeah, that was. I went into the other lane.
Yeah, you went on the. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll pull that clip. That was a solid T-bone. It was an actual T.
But when you're little like that in that class, like. Bro, you're risking your life. Your ego's so big. It's just like, you're just like, I'm getting this done. And if someone gets in my way, like, fuck them. And I definitely was on both sides of the fence on that. So it's cool, though. Like, the 250 class, like, you can't beat it because it's just such that young hunger. You know what I'm saying? Like, even where I'm at, it almost looks, when you watch 450 class, like, guys are trying to, like, maintain status, even though like we're trying to be better, but it's such a chess game. In 250s, it ain't chess, dude. You're just sending it.
We were talking about this after watching Millville. We're like 450 class now is like kind of like a NASCAR program. And then 250s is like how motocross kind of have always been, where dudes are just sending it, banging bars, and everyone's kind of hanging it out. It's kind of similar, right? Like,
but like 450 guys, like, you can't get behind them and just pass them. You kind of have to, like, you really gotta kind of figure out their brain and how they're working from lap to lap. So, but like 250s, if you have speed on someone, it's just later. I'm coming into this rut, dude, and I don't care if I hit you or not. So
that's what Rhino was talking about. You got to pick your passing point. You got to stick on a guy's ass. Hopefully he messes up, or if he barely messes up, be so in tune that you're all burnt, just past him, and then he's got to deal with that.
Rhino's he's pretty on it with everything, like he kind of knows what he's talking about.
That brain of his is going.
It's active.
He's awesome. It was awesome to have him in here and be hanging out with him lately. He helped me kind of heal from something, and
Yeah.
he's just a cool dude, man. Okay, so who were you training with in 2014, by the way? Was it still Randy or?
Yeah. No, I don't think Randy was helping me out. I was training with Wardy.
Wardy.
sick.
Yeah. So
Another legend.
Yeah. So Jeff Ward was helping me, and then as far as like my training program, I had this guy. His name was Seiji Ishii, and he was working with Shorty that year.
Nice.
And he was kind of writing my program on an online scale, like as far as like cycling, all that stuff. But at the track, it was just me and Wardy every day.
That's awesome. That guy gave you some confidence, right?
Yeah. Wardy was cool. He was easy. He was super easy to have at the races, everything like that. He wasn't like crazy, like, like hard on you type vibe.
Yeah.
Like not like football coach trainer, but he was just always there to like basically encourage you and make sure like a calm attack of the race day and racing in general.
That's cool. That's good. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Wardy's such a badass.
Yeah.
That was my
Yes.
favorite rider when I was a little kid.
Dude, he had such good style.
That was my guy. I had the orange Oakleys. I was a Wardy guy. Open face helmet.
But for a small guy, he had technique.
Yeah, he's very
Yeah,
He could ride a 500 really, really
Dude,
well.
Very well. Yeah, that was back in the day where they used to race 500s. That was
He's
awesome.
got the OG like trip quadruple fist pump. Remember the Atlanta one? Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Throttle for the Gold. Look up.
I
that
have the
movie.
VHS.
Me too.
Yeah. So my uncle used to be into moto, and he had like all those VHSs, and then when I was younger, I got them in storage somewhere, but like I wasn't even born.
Yeah.
That was what, 1990.
Mm-hmm.
So it was. I always have those videos because I basically have the bar to bars, like of like that era of racing. So luckily, my uncle had those.
Did you ever do you ever remember watching Lightning Strikes Twice?
Nope.
With McGrath. It was like the second year he won it was the Supercross season. The second year he was number one with the it was the
94.
last year of the camel number plate where with the red.
Was he in
Blue
Sinisalo
background,
still that year?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sinisalo.
Mm-hmm.
But I had that one. The thing would be on repeat. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm like, oh,
Yeah, you were born the year MC won his first 250
Yep, 93,
Supercross title. Yeah.
That's crazy.
But what's crazy is like if I race, what was it, like another 2 more years, the kids that are gonna be rookies were born the year I went pro.
Oh wow.
Because it's just like kids right now. Like a 16-year-old was born the year Barsha went pro. 09?
Yeah.
That was 16 years ago.
That's wild.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are still freaking ripping, dude. It's awesome.
I know, but it's just, you can't get rid of it. You just, as much as like it annoys us some days, like our schedule and stuff like that, you just don't know what you do with yourself.
what would
at
you
this
rather do?
point, I still
Yeah.
just enjoy it, and I got it, kind of.
Training with Alden compared to now, because that's a big deal. Like
Yeah.
leaving Alden and then still being good.
Mm-hmm.
Because weren't you with him in 2018 when you won the title?
Mm-hmm.
Was that Alden or was that you?
Yeah, I know. Alden was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, like, I went to Aldens. I was working with Wardy.
Yep.
And then after Wardy, like, at the end of the year, I had the opportunity to go to Aldens. And obviously everyone that I was with understood, because at that time, Alden was, he was the king. You go to him, you work hard, you win.
Yep.
Yeah, just every time.
Track record.
That's
Proven.
just what you do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what I wanted to do. I always wanted to, it was interesting for me to just go there to see what's going on in the first place. Not only like for my career, but I was just interested. I'm like, is it what kind of crazy scientific, like what are they doing here?
I had the pleasure of, when I was with you out in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
going there. I think I only went there like one day or something, but the way that the grass is, the way your guys' chairs are set up, the way the programs ran, Alden's wearing a collared button-up shirt, the whole deal. And I got a cool little video of you and Dungy on the gate practicing.
Yeah.
And
With a GoPro.
I think it was with a GoPro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been.
You took a picture of me throwing a whip on the GoPro too.
Yeah, that. And then there was like something you guys were taking off on the gate, and I just remember thinking like, wow, this is really the country club and the pinnacle of training and motocross, you and Dungy going at it. So that was really cool to see that.
Yeah, like those years training with him from when I started to my Supercross championship were super special, because I feel like at that time he only had 3 guys.
Yep.
So like the facility didn't have like a bunch of people there or anything like that, and we would just work.
It was you, Dunge, and
Marvin.
Yeah.
And those years were like super special, and it was really cool to be a part of it, because I feel like now like KTM, Husky, and Gas are just like, it's a team thing now. It's like a team facility. So at that point, it was like we were like paying Alden for our success. So it was like we were all like grinding and being, I think that was like a peak Alden situation, you know? And I think Alden is maybe, it's just a different vibe over there. It's not as like the RV or the RC type thing. And I think I got like the last bit of that gnarly training.
Like one-on-one.
But it's just tough. Like, it's not necessarily like when I left Alden, it wasn't a thing of like I didn't want to train with him or do the work or anything like that. It was more sometimes whenever you just drive to the same place and you do the same thing over and over, like mentally you just wear yourself out. And it doesn't even have to do with the amount of work that you're doing. If you were doing it, if I was able to just drive to a different track and he was at that different track with a different facility, I would have been way happier.
It's just changing up your program, not doing the same thing over
and and I think just as humans, we need to change the scenery every once in a while just to refresh our brains. And I just knew that if I would have stayed there, it had nothing to do with the amount of work. It just had to do with just being there and just doing the same thing in the middle of the heat. I just needed something different.
Monotonous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to work hard. I knew I still wanted to be good, but I just needed to figure out a different way to do it to extend my career, you know. And that's what it comes down to is being able to do what you love and being able to manage it. And I think that's what I've been trying to do is manage it, because I think we have an aspect of like, I have me trying to grow in my life with finding my wife, having a kid, and then you feel you have this part of like your career, and sometimes it's like they don't really coincide together because you have to be so locked in with your career that it's hard for you to do those other things. So I just needed fulfillment elsewhere in my life, and I wanted to work on that.
Yeah, it'll keep you going too. Like, I feel like it'll keep you fresh, keep you going longer. Are you training with anyone now, or are you running your own program?
Yeah, I have a guy who helps me. It's actually, I work with Alex Martin and John Wessling.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, but they're cool. Like A-Mart and stuff like that. Like, they're really smart with what they do. They understand where I'm at in my career, and we build a good program. You know, we keep it fun. I think they understand where I want to go with it, and it's been relatively easy, and I think I'm still able to chug along for the whole moto, so it seems all right, you know.
You got it, bro. It's sick to watch. So what about? Tell us a little bit about like where you have been spending your time and living. I know you were out in Marietta for a long time through that 250 stuff, but then I feel like after your championship and during that time in the 450 class, 2018, I think you lived in PB for a while. Then you moved to LA somewhere and kind of were just running your own different lifestyle. And how was that all, you know?
Yeah, so I lived in Marietta and I ran like Temecula and stuff all the way up to about 2016, 17. And in 2017, I was just like, to be honest, I was really just burnt out on like just, you know, going to the track and having to live close to the track and everything like that. Like, I almost wanted just a change of scenery. So I lived in, I bought a home in San Diego and I lived there for a little bit. But San Diego wasn't that bad because it was only a 50-minute drive to the test track because we were in Marietta.
Nice.
And but I was in Florida still, so like my time here wasn't too much. So I lived there, and then I ended up at one point just kind of like liquidating a lot of properties, and I sold everything I had in Marietta, Temecula, then San Diego, and then I bought this home that I was just basically gonna Airbnb out in Los Angeles. So like when I'd come back when I'd live in Florida, but then I'd come to the West Coast, I would just stay there. So I lived in West Hollywood for just a little bit, and it was it was fun, but it was I was just kind of like life. I was kind of overwhelmed.
Experience.
I was overwhelmed with my schedule and everything that was going on, that I kind of wanted just a place to just duck away and just do my own thing and not have to worry about, like, have fun, first of all, like I was kind of at an age where I didn't have a family or anything like that, and I was just kind of just rolling solo. So I lived there for a little bit, and then at a certain point I understood I needed to get back to the grind and buckle down a little harder. And towards the end, I honestly just rented that house out, and then living in California with my with Keaton, and I was renting a room from him.
Keaton Ward.
Yeah, Keaton Ward.
He's awesome.
Yeah. So he's always been there, like been the guy like that has always been. He had a house, so he was like, yeah, just roommate with him. Paid him $400 for a room, and
I remember that.
Yeah, for like a couple years there, I was just kind of came back to reality and kind of had to start doing that. But I lived with Keaton for 2 years, and what's crazy is I was doing well and making really good money, and I was still factory, like everything like that. But my life was with him for a couple of years. I was paying $400 a month, and
that's awesome.
I had a mattress on the ground, and I was just running it,
just keeping it simple.
I went back to the simple part, and it was really fun.
Did you win the title living with him in 18?
No. In 18, I was.
You're out.
Yeah,
okay.
I was doing my thing, and then probably around COVID, like 2020, 2021, I started living with Keaton.
Oh, okay, later on.
Yeah.
The whole Keaton thing, like, I met Keaton through you, or maybe I started hanging out with you through Keaton. I don't know, but the three of us, we ran tough there for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
We even took that random Cabo trip, the three of us down there, and just
that's when
you broke your collarbone.
That was before the Nations.
Oh, so that's when that was. Okay, yeah, that was a fun time down there.
Yeah.
And then him and I would hang out in Florida at your place.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt really bad, dude.
He broke his trachea.
Dude, do you remember when Keaton got hurt? Do you remember this? The guy I'll let you tell a story, but he hit his throat on the bar, cased the triple or something. And
he didn't crash, so he jumped the triple at Boston, jumped it, cased it, hit his throat on the crossbar. Yeah. It cut his throat in half internally. Oh. So when he was breathing, the oxygen would just go to his skin, so he swelled up, and his oxygen percentage went down to like 10%. What? So they had to stab a hole in his throat and give him a tracheotomy, and then he was in a coma.
His mom told me that she thought his head was going to explode.
Yeah.
Because it was so swollen.
Yeah. And And yeah, that was the end of his Supercross career. But but he was fine. Yeah. Luckily, he just had a little raspy voice for a little bit. But yeah, like he's like one of like with me and Kyle, like it's kind of been for a while there. It was us three rolling around. Yeah. But Keaton, I mean, I met him in. When you're little, you race all these races around the country and everything like that. And me and my grandpa would take me, and we would just be staying at like RV parks or whatever. So, man, me and Keaton, the amount of times we stayed at the RV park in Pechanga, and we would just like, since we were little, like 11 years old. So he's always been kind of my guy, like just growing up and everything like that. And now, between us three, we're all dads
you
now.
Guys all got kids.
Yeah,
that was cool.
So,
at the races.
Yeah.
Your grandparents were they big in your racing? Your grandma and grandpa?
Yeah. So luckily, when I was growing up, the amateur scene, you could make good money. Like in like those years, like I think I was basically able to fund everything, but my parents still my dad works for the railroad and my mom's a teacher, so it's not like we had money, like we were fine, but like it's not like they could take off work and it was tough, doing all that stuff. But my grandpa was retired and my grandma was too, so basically it would just be me and them two. Like you go to like a week-long national and my dad would fly in on Friday for the races. That's
cool though. That's perfect setup. I mean, to have that's super cool. And you get to hang out with your grandma and grandpa, so it's all win-win.
So speaking of family stuff, how'd you meet your wife? Where'd you meet her? And then like, where's she from and all that good stuff? Because I don't know, and I don't think a lot of people do know, and it would be cool to know.
My wife, she hit me up on Instagram. She just said hi, And I was like, all right, what's up, Shardy? No, but she runs. Her and her mom have a business, and they run a store, and they buy a lot of their stuff in Los Angeles. And so they come here for work every once in a while because they have Fashion District right there, and they run a store. And she's from Massachusetts, so her store is on Cape Cod.
Awesome.
Yeah, so she would be in and out. So like, obviously we were like texting, whatever, and then she was out here, and I was like, let's hang out, and we just hung out, and then we kind of were pretty inseparable until even today. You know, it's kind of how it went.
Yeah, she's so cool. We were downstairs eating a little bit ago, and even hanging out with her at Anaheim. I was like, man, this girl's cool. Like, no wonder. And then seeing her today and just getting to know her a little better. She's a freaking cool chick.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, she just she's like right now she's just the most amazing mom, and she just holds down the fort for us, you know. So it's she's definitely my partner in crime.
That's awesome. Where are you living now?
So right now, before I signed my Cowi deal, I wanted to be closer to Cowi. They're in Lake Forest. So we were renting in Orange County in Laguna, and we bought a house in Laguna. That fly, huh?
We all looked at the same time.
Did we get that guy?
Oh no.
We all were like, maybe if I.
It is.
I know. Oh, it's right there.
That son of a bitch.
I'm like, should we try and get him?
Just break all the lights.
Oh,
you saw it. Dude, you got him. Yeah, you stunned him.
Show it to the fucking
He's fucking huge, dude.
He's still alive, but we're going to drop him freaking.
He's KO'd for sure. Yeah, that thing was getting on my nerves, dude.
We couldn't let that happen.
It distracts you when you're trying to think of like what to say and stuff like that. But yeah, back to like where I'm living and stuff like that.
Yeah, Laguna.
So yeah, once I started with Cowi, I was like, they're in Lake Forest, and I needed to live close to them, just because it's nice to live close to the shop and everything like that. And I rented a house. And then me and my wife ended up buying a house, and we bought the house, and it was perfect. And then my wife was pregnant, and 2023 Supercross, the week before Anaheim won, my house floods.
Floods, bad.
Floods, dude. It was like terrible. Like the baby room we had set up and everything like that. So we were like, we didn't know what to do. So we basically, it just went up for sale this week. But from fixing it in 23.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So basically it flooded. They had a lot of damage, and we had to move out of there. So now we're in an apartment in Dana Point. And basically Dana Point, that's where we're at right now. And I'm kind of down for the apartment living, because anything breaks, you call them, they come and fix it. I got a gym downstairs, and until I retire, we're gonna just stick to apartment living.
Yeah, keep it simple and easy. You seem like the kind of guy that just likes to keep it simple. I remember even like your house in Marietta was pretty simple, and then your house in Florida, like everything was just very.
Yeah.
You keep things simple.
Yeah.
I've always noticed that.
It just seems easier to me, you know.
Less
like,
distractions. Your mind's more like chilling.
Yeah.
Versus.
Yeah, I just feel like, for like me right now, everything like that would just, got a little one running around and everything's. Oh,
wait. We got to talk about the little one, dude. Because we know that Bubba Stewart loves to talk about.
I know he calls her what, Cynthia?
Whatever, dude. He's coming up with a few different names, but like, I love watching his podcast and love listening to him talk about it. But for the longest time too, I'm like, is her name really Siggy? Like, what's the deal? So where'd the name come from? And give us a little spiel on that.
Obviously, when you name your kid, it's really tough, because there's so many like different names. And to be honest, we just came up with Siggy. That's just just awesome. Randomly. Like, there's no meaning behind it or anything. I think Siggy in the meaning means victory, which that just is a bonus that we didn't even know until we looked it up after she was even born. But I honestly, and then another thing too, I think Siggy, just like the way you spell it out, like Siggy just looks like really cool for like aesthetically for a girl, and I think it's cute. It's just a girl.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, and like being able to hold her at that race, and like she's just she's a cute little girl. And
Yeah,
the name like fits her so good.
Yeah.
So and it fits like your guys' style, you and your wife, like how you are. So it's pretty awesome though.
Yeah,
we got to dive into this a little bit because I know everyone loves this part of what you got going on, but the Lawrence brother beef, I mean, I know you grabbed one helmet and then you almost grabbed another, and there's always a little bit of tension on the track, but it's cool that somebody's got some beef with them, and I think you're a good guy for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's racing, like you have egos involved, and nowadays everyone is trying to suppress like the drama and everything, but sometimes you need a little bit of that. Not that I want to be the one involved. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, what happened after San Diego, I didn't feel like I did anything wrong. But he grabbed my helmet, and then, I grabbed his or whatever, and then, just moving forward, like even like with me and Hunter, I mean, to be honest, like I'll race him hard and I'll do the same thing again, But I don't feel like I'm like coming like, if you watch my pass on him in Salt Lake, it wasn't crazy. I'm just
even like Wshugal. You took his front end a little, but you made an aggressive pass because you're racing motocross.
Yeah, it's racing.
So like,
it's how it's supposed
but
to be.
Like, it's not like a huge deal between us. But like, if I'm passing him ever in the future, just because of how they've been with me, I'll definitely throw some disrespect on it for sure. But that's just like, that's how it is. I feel like I feel like it's good. It's good for racing, and it makes me want to beat him. Even though, like, I'm barely walking around, I'm 31, and I'm like
barely walking.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, like they got that young fire, so I got to figure out how to get it out of myself to be able to, put it to them. But they're amazing. They're amazing at what they do. Mm-hmm. They're amazing riders. But at the same time, I would rather them two be behind me than anything else, But they make it tough on me.
Yeah, it's good to watch. I love the.
It was more lesson learned for them through all that stuff than you. Like they got booze. They got a lot out of that negative. Yeah. And like I think they learned a bigger lesson.
Yeah,
from that.
It's really insane though, because like just as like humans nowadays, our attention span is like that of like a goldfish, because you could be booing them one weekend and the next thing you go they're just cheering them on, So that's where, like, even though I think ours is a little longer lasting in people's brains, just because it's like it was like some of the more entertaining stuff of the season, but if it just had happened one weekend, you wouldn't have really probably talked about it again.
No, keep it going.
But yeah,
you want to wait? Okay. But yeah.
Oh no, I meant keep it going with them. Like,
100%. So like, it's just one of the parts is like they kind of like, it was funny during the whole thing because they act mature and like they're above it, but they got heated. They let their emotions slip a little bit. And it's kind of funny to hear them talk about like them being like so mature and how they go about it. And I'm like, you guys be doing the same shit too. Don't act like you're like that cool. No. We're all human. We all get fired up. And to be honest, we gave some people something to watch.
Oh, yeah, it's good. That's why I'm saying keep it going, because it's entertaining. It's what people want to see. They don't want to see you just ride around.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, that was my roommate Trent's intro to Supercross.
Yeah.
43 years old. Mm-hmm. And we've watched every race this season now together every Saturday. And he's a fan for life. Mm-hmm. And you're his guy. Anyway, I just want to give a shout out to
shout out Trent.
Love that. Yeah. Oh, you said his name now. He's pumped too.
Shout out to
Don't cut that, Blake. Don't cut that out.
Yeah, and Trent has the same birthday as me too.
Yeah, dude. Soul brothers.
And he's a chef and makes the best damn hamburgers in the parking lot I've ever had.
Dude, we're gonna have to hire him for a race.
We're gonna have a Fast Friends party, bro.
Yeah.
And Trent's gonna be the chef.
Trent,
yeah, or we'll bring him to a race. Whatever we gotta do. He's the man.
Can you give him anything and he'll make it good?
Yes.
He's that kind of person.
Anything. He's that kind of person. Exactly.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I was chilling at Jeff's house one day, and Trent just comes up out of nowhere, and he goes, "Hey, try this barbecue sauce." Just like a little bit. He's I made this. And just a little, And I'm like, bro, I was like,
Dude, he
never had a
makes
barbecue sauce like that.
salsa from scratch, barbecue sauce from everything from scratch. Just pretty good. Anyway.
But it's just the process has to take forever though.
Yeah, but he's so good. He's like a factory mechanic with food.
Yeah, because I'm gonna
That's
be like, if
literally-
you make good salsa from scratch, you're like cooking it in the oven, like you're cooking the like.
Oh, he puts the peppers on the open flame.
Yeah, that's what
he's
I'm saying.
He's in the works of coming out with his own salsa business. So,
Really?
yeah, he's that level.
Really? Does he want to collab on one?
He would.
An El Hombre salsa.
Oh, yeah.
100%, dude. We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Plug
The
it in.
names he's throwing out there, I'm like, oh, dude, I just want some right now.
Yeah.
It's all about the name.
Yeah, it means
But the
something.
El Hombre 21 sauce, dude,
Oh.
like a green, like a verde
Oh,
green.
yeah.
With,
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
By A1 next year.
Dude, what about being the only Cowi guy right now? Well, I guess Brock raced a couple
Yeah.
races, but
Mhm.
yeah, you're flying the flag good, dude. Like when you watch races, it's the only green bike in the mix, like
Yeah.
doing the shit.
Solo, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
it's cool. It's crazy to me from where I was like even on Husky and stuff like that to kind of like be branded like a Cowi rider now, just because I kind of
Yeah.
been on them for a minute, and it's cool. You know, I just growing up, I remember watching all the factory Cowi guys. I mean, dude, when I was little, you
Legit.
had Ricky,
Yeah.
Ezra Lusk.
Yogi.
Yeah, I always thought Yogi was like one of my favorite looking on that thing when he won Phoenix
Oh.
Supercross.
So sick.
He looked-
Number 11,
Number
dude.
11 with blue and yellow
Uh-huh.
Thor gear.
Yeah,
I was
he
there,
actually
baby.
made the M2R.
I was too.
Awesome.
He made the
race.
M2R helmet look cool.
Yeah, he
Somehow.
did.
Yeah, the
Uh-huh.
bubble
Somehow,
head.
the only person that ever
Uh-huh.
did.
Dude, that guy
And
ripped.
and then you got obviously Stu, and it's just cool to just be in that, still be a guy and be on those teams and everything like that. Like sometimes I got to step back and just be thankful, because sometimes we get so caught up in trying to be better to where we are like, kind of bitter, and you're like, dude, you got everything you ever wanted,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cool to be on Cowi and being the only guy there. The team works well, and having Brock as our test guy.
Oh, yeah.
Brock's, dude, he's easy. He's super cool. It's cool he's able to do a couple races this year.
Yeah, Brock's awesome.
Mhm.
And then your team is awesome. Like Oscar is so cool.
Yeah, cool.
I go on mountain bike rides sometimes with Oscar, just known him forever.
Yeah.
I mean, his history in the sport, being Reedy's mechanic and all the things he's done.
I mean, he was in MotoGP for a second.
Yeah, and then Kurt Rude is awesome.
Dude, he's been at Cowi since, what, 95?
And you're
Yeah.
what? Kaipo? Is that the suspension?
Kaipo
guy?
is so
That guy's
cool.
classic.
Yeah.
Like, what a team. Big
Yeah.
B still there driving the
Yeah.
truck.
Yeah, washing
Dude, like,
bikes.
what a
dude.
team.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Yeah, and then honestly, my mechanic, Rango, he's cool.
Rango's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
You got to ask Rango about this. I know you remember this. I don't know if he's ever brought it up, but it was one time, I think he might have been like helping Malcolm at Loretta's or something back
Yeah.
in the day. And I like had this shampoo bottle in the creek at Loretta's, and I like tossed the thing behind me for some weird reason. And he's sitting behind me like with his girlfriend, and dude, this shampoo bottle just blasts his chick in the head, dude. And I'm like, oh, dude, this guy, because he's kind of a gangster dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of like, I'm like, you don't want to mess with that guy, and I never met him, and I turn around, I'm like, oh no, here we go. And he was like super cool about it,
Yeah.
and it's just something I'll never forget, and I'm sure he remembers that too. But I
Rango.
always see him on TV. I'm like, that guy's badass.
He's classic. He's
Yeah.
a good dude.
They did a profile on him. His story is really cool. Like
Yeah.
how he just like got linked up with you.
Yeah.
Like randomly and luckily for him, and it all
Mhm.
panned out.
Yeah,
You guys got
because he's
along.
kind of from the same area as me. He's kind of he's from Arizona, but like on the south end, like kind of like of New Mexico too, like right on the border. So like he grew up in like almost like kind of same like West Coast culture, kind of like that New Mexico Arizona
Yeah.
vibe, and he went to MMI
Yeah, that's
and then worked for Malcolm for all those years, and it was just, to be honest, like like when you know someone like in the pits and you know who they are, but you never like get to hang out with them.
Mhm.
I'm like super lucky to have Rango because he's a good dude, and he's funny. Like he's like kind of like he's like one of us.
Yeah, that's
You
awesome.
know?
He's cool.
So he's not like just work only for me. He's
Yeah.
like you can hang out with him outside and kick it.
I feel like he'd have your back too if anything goes
Oh,
down.
yeah.
I want that guy on my side for
Uh-huh.
sure. Yeah,
He'd have
like
your
if-
back. He'd have your back even if you were wrong.
yeah,
You
that's
know?
the homie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for
That's
sure.
what I'm saying. Like when the shampoo bottle thing, I'm like, I don't want this guy to get
Yeah.
on me, and he's so cool. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
that's cool, dude. So talk about where kind of being where you're from. you grew up in New Mexico, like just right outside of Albuquerque, right?
Pizza Barn.
Oh, the Pizza Barn, dude. That's the best pizza I've ever had.
Uh-huh.
I'd be taking cross-country trips back in the day, driving some people around for races and stuff. And the Pizza Barn off of the 40,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right there. Dude, this pizza is
I don't
so
know why
good.
that sounds so funny.
There's something about it.
No, dude, I'm not lying. Even
Pizza
all my
Barns.
truck drivers, I put them on and they stop there.
Every time.
Right.
You
Every
would
time.
never pass it and not stop there.
Nope. It's
And
like
there's billboards reminding you.
Mhm.
It's
That's awesome.
thing.
I'm
Shout
not
out
lying. It's
Pizza
some of the
Barn.
best pizza.
It's but yeah, like it's really
Mhm.
good. Might
Got-
need to
we
hit
got to
them
take
up.
Trent there to see how good.
Is it in New Mexico?
Dude, it's in the town I grew up in. I used to
Oh,
ride my
okay,
pit bike
yeah.
to this Pizza Barn.
Like right down the
Yeah.
street, you
Yeah.
kind of live up the hill on
Yeah.
top there.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, we'll
Yeah.
go.
So
We'll
so
go.
Yeah, so growing up there,
yeah. So I grew up in New Mexico. My uncle used to race like just locally, and he actually still races. They moved to Texas, and he's racing like masters. Like 50, they have like
50
a,
plus,
a
yeah.
vet class, vet like series in Texas. But he raced, and yeah, then just like my grandpa got me a 50 for my 6th birthday, and then it was just kind of from there.
Is there tracks in New Mexico? And did you, when you were growing up, like, did you know like Ivan Tedesco and who else?
Like
is
the
from
Johnson
there?
brothers
So
or older.
yeah,
but-
so like when I grew up, let's just say my first year was on a 65 was like 2000, and I think that year Keith Johnson rode for Factory KTM
Mhm.
on a 125,
Yeah.
and then you had obviously Ivan. He was probably like Planet Honda. You had Isaiah. You had Justin Bucklew, who was YOT.
Oh, he was real fast.
But they all grew up in the area where I was, like where I grew up. But a lot of them were already, like living in California.
So they were a little older than you, so you were watching these guys.
And I knew where they came from, and I knew like that's where I live, and everything like that. Like I grew up in a small like by Pizza Barn, and
Yeah.
and where Pizza Barn is, dude. Justin Buckley was like 2 miles from Pizza Barn, and you remember like the Yamaha commercials and stuff when he was on 80s and everything. Like he was legit.
Oh, he
you
was
know?
the man. Buckley
So-
was so fast.
So it was cool to have that generation before me just being from New Mexico, because there's not much opportunity in New Mexico. It's a lower income, like it's a tougher state.
Yeah, it's dirt,
you know?
desert, ain't much around.
So it was really cool to like have those guys, because it honestly gave myself like a sense of like, oh, I could do this. They did it, So like that was really nice to like have guys that were so good come out of where I came from. But where I grew up, I think our public track, it's right off the 40. You know that one in the hole?
On the other side,
Moriarty, yeah.
a little bit past Pizza Barn.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah. And it's like only open like 1 or 2 times a month on weekends, So we would just ride in the desert. We just had sand tracks everywhere, and that's all I had to ride, like my whole upbringing. And when I turned like maybe 13, 14, me and my grandpa started coming and spending like Christmas break out here in California, and I was in heaven. And now, like you think of like everyone's like California doesn't have bumps, doesn't have ruts, and like for me back then coming to here, I was like, dude, this is everything I need. But you just kind of get like more jaded to. But I think just the level gets bigger, and you need certain things to accomplish your goals. But at that point, it was cool to be at home, and I stayed there. I went to school in New Mexico all the way through like 9th grade, like public school, and basically that's kind of like not many people make it that far in school, so I kind of kept it normal until then.
Nice.
Yeah.
When was the goal to become a professional motocross racer? Before that? After that?
I already knew I wanted to, like, off the rip. As soon as I started doing good as an amateur, like I was,
Let's go.
yeah,
You're going, yeah.
in my head,
Yeah.
But it's still like there's a lot to get there, and there's a lot that I underestimated on how tough it was. That's for sure.
So, Jason, obviously you don't have a bunch of time to run a clothing company. You're a professional
Yeah.
racer, but Team Fried is kind of taken off. It's like a cool brand in the pits. It's like an if you know, kind of company.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, just growing up, like I think like for me, I've always been interested into like not creative stuff, but just stuff that's cool. You
Yeah.
know, like I feel like growing up, like like even like when I was riding for Volcom, it was always cool to like have the helmet, and I was always interested because I think with Troy from Volcom, he would always I'd basically be able to pick a board short, and then he'd put that design on my helmet. So like that's kind of how it would go down most of the time. So I kind of was able to just like pick whatever board short I wanted or whatever, and then he just put it on my helmet, and he would like design it and stuff like that. So I think from that aspect, I think even like when I was working with him, it kind of got me interested in like that whole deal of just being able to make things that you think are cool, and also how like you can get people think it's cool, you know. And I think like I have Team Fried, and it's hard for me because I've tried to do it on my own and stuff like that. It's just a lot of work, you know. And I think right now we haven't really done much with it just because we're kind of organizing. But I want to do stuff with it, you know, even if it has no success or anything like that. But in my head, like I just think there's stuff that I think is really cool, that it's nostalgic to like my era growing up, you know, like just style and everything. And it's kind of coming back. Like a lot of the things like we had when we were little, like just style wise and stuff is coming back. So we're dropping, we're going to start selling stuff here again soon, and try and do videos and stuff like that. And, but it's tough whenever you want to run it like a brand, because it does have to be kind of like curated and cool. So it's kind of like it's a challenge for me. And I think hopefully people think it's cool what we have planned.
Yeah, and when you retire and stuff, you're gonna have it like keep it going until when you know, and then you can really, what do I want to do with this now? I've got a little bit of money to put in it. You could do whatever you want.
It's tough because like I want it to be portrayed like very not a money grab. Like I want it to be like, I want people to actually like appreciate it and it not be like just like my brand. You know, like I don't want, that's one thing that because like even like people sell merch and everything like that, and I don't really sell merch, but I just don't want it to be a money grab. I want people to think like they're like, whoa, that's like kind of cool.
Yeah, it's just an authentic like lifestyle culture,
like be part of something.
Yeah,
and I don't really drop. I haven't done anything with it just because I don't want to drop anything until I think it's cool.
Yeah, no, I think you're doing it in a cool way.
Yeah.
I want to see it come back in a good way.
Yeah.
I want to get myself some Team Fried stuff.
I need some Fast Friend stuff.
Everybody talks
we got
about
you.
it.
We got you. What about your future plans, dude? Like from here, you know, like what are you thinking? I know you're working with Mikey now, and he's doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Building some really cool bikes. Just built one for Rossi that was really cool, Valentino.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys got some plans and some things in the works. Like, what's your future looking like?
Yeah. So I mean, like right now, like at the stage I'm at in my career, you kind of want to look past where your career is, because I mean, if we're being real, like I may have one more contract in me, and I personally like that, and like bothers me, because I'm like, I could ride till I'm dead, you know what I'm saying? Like I just want to just keep going. Like I still feel that like in me, like I don't want to be done.
Yeah, you should. Kevin Windham went for a long time.
Yeah.
And my mom says that you remind her of Kevin Windham. So you're the Kevin Windham now. So like,
he's a little more smooth criminal with it. But
yeah, you got it in you.
Would you ever ride for a different, lesser team to ride for 3, 5, 6 more years if you feel like it? Or is it when Cowi's done with you, are you done? Or how are you feeling about that?
No, like I will say there's like a point that I feel like if I'm not like competitive, that I probably would just be done, because I know I'd frustrate myself not being competitive, you know, like
that's not fun.
It's not fun. Yeah. Like but I do believe that if I play my cards right, I don't see why I can't be competitive and keep progressing. Yeah. There's no reason I can't, you know, like I'm pretty intact. Yeah. And I just, there's no end in sight for me. Like I want to be able, I have another year on my deal, but I want to be able to, you know, sign another one, and I don't want them to think of that as even my last one, you know? But at the same time, you know, age does come into effect as far as just your body, you know? But yeah, I definitely want to race, another 3 more years and hoping to do more after that.
Yeah, that's awesome,
Cool.
dude. I think you got a good home at Cowi. The boys are so cool there.
Yeah.
And that'd be cool to see you kind of like end your career there, honestly, because it just seems like a good fit. And
New teammate next year.
New teammate, yeah.
Prado.
Ooh,
That's what I hear. I haven't had confirmation
Jason
on
and
who it
Jorge.
is. But, yeah. But it's nice though, because like it'll be cool to have your dynamic with teammates and stuff like that is crazy, because just through my career I've had, just training. I trained with Dunge and Marvin, so that was kind of like we weren't on the same team. I've had Dean as a teammate. I've had Osborne, Adam. And honestly, your relationships with teammates always vary. Sometimes it can be cool, sometimes it can be tough, but it'll be nice to have someone with like that hunger, because like he's coming to America to prove something. He ain't coming here to like be like 5th place and like enjoy the American lifestyle.
No. It's gonna level you up too, because you're gonna be like
100%.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, all right, like you're coming into my little tent here.
Let me show you
and
what's up.
I'm fast, dude. So freaking what's up?
Yeah.
Like I was talking to Cincerillo earlier too, earlier in the year, kind of like right when Supercross was getting started, and I'm like, how's it riding with Jason? And he's like, God, he's so freaking fast. He's so good. And it's cool to hear him say that because he always has been. And I can't wait to keep watching you freaking get after it and you guys go at it. So
it'll be cool, and I think Prado is gonna bring like a whole new like even style, like being able to watch him. Like I'll learn from him. Yeah, so it's gonna be unique, and especially because it's like obviously like they're from Spain and stuff like that. So I'm like, I wonder how like their dynamic is and everything like that. Just Euros run a different program. Yeah.
And he's been over there winning championships in the MXGP series, which will bring a whole new flavor of like you're saying, how do you go about it, and what are there's you can never stop learning, right?
I was talking to him and this year at the photo shoot, and he was coming to race, and I was like, told him like that's cool. And I was like, have you ever even been to watch one? And he said, I watched one race, and it was my first Supercross win.
Nice.
Yeah, it was Anaheim 1 in 2016.
So, dude, if that's his first race that he watched, he's
the blueprint.
He's holding you high.
I know.
He's holding you at a high level. Yeah,
But no, he's like with the different, like him coming from Europe and all that, you guys are gonna be able to dial the bike in pretty sick. I feel like outdoor settings, he's gonna have some stuff.
Yeah,
you guys are gonna be able to work that good. I think that's cool.
I think it'll be interesting to see how it works, but I can't wait. And like I work with Cowi, but I think it's cool to be able to hopefully, because you have teammates coming in, and sometimes you're like, you literally will just like not fuck with them because you just have that competition side to you, But like now at the stage I'm at, I'm like, it's cool to hopefully work together to both raise both of our levels at Cowi and roll that way.
Yeah.
To where a younger me, it's a roll of the dice how I'm gonna approach a situation. I might be pretty cutthroat back in the day, but luckily it's you just get more perspective as you get older, I guess you can say.
That's awesome, dude. We're stoked to keep watching you like just keep going here and the whole new chapter. And I think we're pretty much like good to like wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
I do want to stoked on this gear you brought.
I
want to like on the camera. I want to have you sign this stuff real quick.
Yeah.
Do a little giveaway with our guys always. And,
no problem.
Yeah. Let me grab that. Let's get you this.
Cool.
I'll like help you pull it.
Look at that thing. Race worn?
I think Phoenix Supercross.
Awesome.
Boom.
Sweet. That's going to go to a super stoked, lucky Fast Friends viewer right there.
There you go.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Jason.
No problem.
That was awesome.
Got a pair. Wait,
got the pants. No one's brought pants, too.
No one's brought pants.
Dude,
Let's
those
sign the
things
pants, too.
weigh like a half of an ounce.
Are you splitting this up?
Those things
No,
weigh
we're doing it in
nothing.
one, right? Or
Yeah.
Should we do it in two? What do you think we should do?
You got to do it in one.
Yeah, we'll do it in one.
It's going to be someone's sickest Halloween costume ever.
Yeah, Jason, it's been awesome having
Yeah.
you here, dude. Awesome chatting with you, hearing like everything you kind of been through, where you came from, and your little experience there at MX of Nations that we started with. That was freaking crazy, and thanks for coming, man. We're stoked to.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride
Yeah.
up to this point, and it ain't over yet, baby.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. So hopefully we get more stories to talk about later on.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys for watching episode 8, Fast Friends.
We'll bring you back for episode 21.
There we go.